Hi guys, and welcome to Redtail Sorento's 5th vlog. We've been super busy with a trip to Tryon, among other trips. At about 5 p.m. the night before our class, the class got moved into the stadium, which was really exciting. I included some clips of his first class. So this was his first time jumping in anything like this arena. And I was just so impressed with how rideable he was and how much fun he had and we had together. It was just a pleasure to ride here. He's still, of course, green and figuring things out, but he was so confident and really game to all the jumps. It was a lot of fun. This particular weekend at Tryon, they also had a USDF dressage show, so I took the opportunity to get some feedback from a different dressage judge than our traditional eventing dressage judge. We did training level test 2 and training level test 3, and he did really, really nicely. He's still a little inconsistent in the bridle, but I think that's a little bit his breeding, being Guidem Lux on his dam side. It sounds like they have a tendency to be a little bit funny in the bridle, period. He does really seem to like his bit, so our homework is just transitions to help him figure out how to use himself correctly, period. I can definitely tell a huge change in his work at home, and you always get 60% of what you have at home out at the show, so it's coming. Overall, in the test, he was super obedient, and I was really pleased with his work ethic and his ability to go into a bunch of different arenas and just to be a good citizen. All the halting in traditional dressage tests is silly. We also got the opportunity to go to a couple schooling shows, where I went ahead and moved him up to novice because he's been a little bored with the beginner novice jumping, I think. He had an awesome time. We also built a water jump at home. So he's had the opportunity now to jump through the water at home, which was a lot of fun for him. Then we went to the young event horse at Flying Cross. This was my first time at Flying Cross, and Bruno's tension at the new venue was a little unexpected, having been to Tryon and done quite a few things and been to all the schooling shows. He went to 2 schooling shows in between all of this, so I was not really expecting what I got. But that's 4-year-olds for you. I did really appreciate the judge's comments on this test. She was very understanding of the things we were working through, and there were some nice moments where you could see his canter and his trot. Thankfully, Bruno managed to redeem himself and his jumping. I went ahead and included his entire jumping video here for you guys to see, just so you can get a good idea if you've actually never done any of the young event horse classes. I felt like Flying Cross had a perfect example of what these classes look like. The footing here was actually pretty hard, and he has shoes on but no studs. He's not drilled and tapped. So I wanted to make sure that I went really nice and slowly so that he never lost his footing. Yeah, after his shenanigans in his dressage test, I also wasn't quite sure what I was going to get, but he was very good to the jumps here. Even if he trots a little bit to figure it out, I'm totally okay with that. And the judge scored a little bit lower on the fences that he trotted or, seemed unbalanced at, but overall, despite his dressage test that was really very naughty, to be honest, he did have the best jumping score of the young event horses at the show this weekend, which I was really pleased about. I can always fix the dressage. I can't always make them want to jump. I really did like this course for the young event horse class. I think that it gave you a lot of terrain questions and a lot of variety in the jumps that the young horses saw. Some of the jumps were maybe a little bit small to really show some good jump shape, but you know, you'd always rather not overface them, I think, anyway. This next jump is actually a really nice fence in the woods, so that was a good question, I think, in these trees here. Can they leave home? Can they go forward and jump in the trees with the trees overhanging? Here I went ahead and trotted, actually, because this was pretty slippery, and you can see him like slip pretty decently here in a second down this road. Yep, that's okay. I think it's really important that the young horses learn how to slip a little bit, because it's always going to happen when you're least expecting it out on course, and they have to continue to do their job and be confident with a little slip. So I took my time and went further down the hill just so I could have a nice straight shot to this. I wasn't sure how he would feel. He doesn't care. And then we get to gallop across the hill, which was awesome. Our next question is a little roll top, 4 strides to a little ditch. And I wanted to go ahead and trot it because it is a little bit downhill. And it was a bit hard footing, so it was slippery. There we go. And he eats up the distance in a little bit of an inappropriate way, and then feels a little passionately about that. So, but he came back to me really quickly, which I appreciate. I don't mind a little spice as long as he listens. Beautiful. So the next is we gallop into this little field over here where the water jump is located. It's a little difficult to see here in the trees. And they had us kind of go around the water jump and then back through it, which I really appreciated. So on this particular course, it was just a through for the water, which I felt like was very appropriate for the 4-year-olds. And then we come up this hill to this last little log jump before our gallop home. And I asked him for a little bit, which he gave us. I think it's safe to say he enjoys what he does. He has a little bit too much fun, but he does eventually come back to me, actually. So that was the young event horse class at Flying Cross, and we had a great time. Earlier this summer, I actually decided that I was not going to aim Bruno at the championships in October, mostly because it's a 16-hour drive for us, and that seems like a lot of stress for a 4-year-old to me. When I also kind of think that the jump course may overface him a little bit. And that combined with the environment, you know, especially after this weekend when he maybe was quite fazed by environment or something to make him so naughty in his dressage test. I think all in all, he's exactly where I want him, and he's listening and learning, and he's just got a great attitude, and he's developing in a really, really nice way. For me, I'm going to probably give him a week or 2 off after this show this weekend, and then do some training at home. I think a lot of times we undervalue the opportunity to teach them and train them at home, and maybe we compete them too often when they're really young. So I'm going to go ahead and keep him home and keep working on him for his 5-year-old year. Thanks for following along with Redtail Sorento.